The Sunday Roundtable is ready to go, and joining us this morning, Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Rob Gray.
So guys, you just heard Senator Warren. She talked about the survival rate of that January 6th commission. Rules Committee Chairman Jim McGovern was succinct about his thoughts on the House when it passed the bill.
But I'm going to tell you, if there's anybody in this chamber who doesn't believe that it's important to get to the truth about what happened on the 6th, or who doesn't, or who wants to make believe that what happened on the 6th didn't happen on the 6th, that it's like a typical tourist day on the Capitol, they are not fit to serve in this chamber. And I've had it.
Look like Donald Trump will win this one. What do you think, Marianne?
No, and Jim McGovern's right. The fact is, if you're not looking for the truth on January 6th, there are only two reasons. You're either an accomplice, you are compromised, or both. And that only means that you don't belong in Congress. You frankly might belong in jail. And ask Donald Trump if the truth is coming out. It's starting to come out about him every day.
How likely is the Senate going to pass this, Rob?
Well, I think Mitch McConnell may win this one. Let's remember, despite what Jim McGovern said, the Democrats want to drag out this investigation, and it should be investigated into 2022 and make it an election issue. A lot of Republicans are objecting to that. Susan Collins from Maine said she wouldn't vote for this unless it was wrapped up in 2021. I don't think that 10 other Republicans are going to defect to allow this to go forward in its present form.
It's un-American.
I was just going to say, you're shaking your head, Marianne.
Well, it's un-American. This is about our democracy, and to brush it off like it's just one more scandal. This is about our very future as a country, and that cannot be dismissed by anybody, because anybody who does it is not only on Team USA, they're on Team Putin.
It's he said, Marty Walsh, Willie Gross. Walsh says he knew absolutely nothing about Dennis White's past allegations of domestic abuse. Former police commissioner William Gross says that Walsh did. So what do you make of all of this, Rob?
Well, it's 6 weeks until July 4th, but the fireworks are already flying on this. There's a lot of back and forth. I don't think we know what the real deal is, but what we know is that not everything has come out. These guys are shooting at each other, and there's a lot more to come. Somebody's going to get winged or killed in this, and we're not sure who yet.
Take us inside, Marianne. What do you think?
The fact is, the stakes couldn't be higher for everybody involved in this matter. The one person who did know about Dennis White's record was Willie Gross, and he has now signed an affidavit under the pains and penalties of perjury saying that Marty Walsh had to have known. You look at Kim Janey, who has brushed aside the acting mantle, says she's mayor. Well, this is your problem, too. And by the way, a few months ago, you said, even knowing the facts, you wanted Dennis White to stay. Now you don't. And then there's Anissa Asabi George, who accepted Willie Gross's endorsement a week or two ago. And that was before we knew about this. And in his embrace of Bill Barr and his Trump-like tactics and Antifa-like blaming on things made that disqualifying. Her political strategy, perhaps now, is about her judgment. And last but not least is Marty Walsh, who says in his statement, "I wish I knew." That is one of the most definitive statements Marty Walsh has made about any controversy since he was in office and since he's left. And if he said that, and for some reason it's not true, then that's a problem. But Willie Gross knows the truth, and he needs to come out with it.
So we're not post-pandemic yet, but it's starting to feel that way. Let's start with what pandemic provisions should remain in place. What makes sense to you, Rob?
Well, one thing that I'd like to see remain in place, despite some Republican opposition, is mail-in voting. I think it worked well. I think it was secure, and I think it should stay in place. But just overall, I think we need to be careful, not just because we started doing something that it's a good permanent idea. So I think they should, and I think Charlie Baker will go through these regulations carefully to decide what merits sticking around for a long time.
Marianne, what would you like to see stay?
Yeah, two things. I mean, Rob got my first one, which is voting. Vote by mail, drop boxes, longer early voting, all very important. The other is how we work. People should be allowed to work from home or some hybrid of it. And by doing that, it will change our cities, change work, change people's lives, change traffic. And I think that's one of the biggest things that could come out of this for the better.
I don't know. Traffic's back already, Marianne.
I was just going to say that. It is horrible.
Yeah.
And then if you work from home, you guys wouldn't be here. So